Ancient carvings, eerie lights, and leaked UFO footage. The truth about aliens is closer than ever. For thousands of years, humans have told stories about gods descending from the skies. But what if these were not gods at all? Across the world, ancient cave paintings and rock carvings depict bizarre figures that don't look human. Some have large heads, elongated limbs, and glowing halos. Others wear what seem to be helmets or breathing apparatuses. These images have been found in remote caves in Australia, on rock walls in India, and in the deserts of Africa. The most famous are the Wandjina figures from Australia. Painted by Aboriginal tribes over 4,000 years ago, these beings have huge round eyes, no mouths, and appear to be wearing tight-fitting suits. The tribes who created these paintings say the Wandjina came from the sky and brought knowledge. In the Sahara Desert, the Tassili N'Ajjer cave paintings dating back 8,000 years show humanoid figures with what look like helmets and visors, surrounded by floating discs. Who were these beings? The locals back then had no reason to invent futuristic technology. In India, the Charama petroglyphs depict figures with oval heads and large empty eyes, eerily resembling the modern descriptions of gray aliens. The most unsettling part? Indian archaeologists found these images deep in caves, where no ancient human would have spent much time decorating. These cave paintings and carvings are thousands of years old, yet they match descriptions from modern UFO encounters. Could they be proof that something or someone visited our ancestors? The evidence is out in the open, waiting for those willing to see the truth. In 2007, an eerie discovery shocked Mexico. A small hairless creature with humanoid features was found caught in a rat trap on a farm in Metepec, near Toluca. Unlike any known animal, the being had an elongated skull, thin limbs, and large human-like eyes. The creature's body was preserved and scientists were given access to study it. Initial analysis suggested the skeletal structure was unlike anything seen before. Some features resembled primates, but its DNA did not match any known species. The biggest mystery? Its brain was larger than it should have been for a creature of that size, leading some experts to believe it had intelligence. Local rumors spread quickly. Farmers in the area spoke of strange lights in the sky days before the discovery. Some believed the creature was left behind by extraterrestrials, either as a lost member of a visiting species or as part of an experiment. Conspiracy theorists went further, suggesting that the being was a hybrid, evidence of genetic manipulation between humans and something not from Earth. But before answers could be fully uncovered, the creature was mysteriously lost. The last known reports claimed that the body was sold to private collectors, disappearing from public view. The official explanation? Some scientists dismissed it as an elaborate hoax, but no one could ever identify what species it truly belonged to. If the Metepec creature was not of this world, was it proof that extraterrestrials have already been interacting with Earth's wildlife? Or was it something even stranger, evidence of life that has been hiding among us all along? The truth remains buried, but the images of this bizarre being still exist, leaving us with more questions than answers. In the depths of an uncharted forest, something unsettling unfolds. A lone figure stands motionless, surrounded by towering skeletal beings with lifeless eyes. But, is it even human? The proportions are strange, the posture unnatural. The air feels thick, charged with something beyond comprehension. And those machines, blinking, humming, what are they doing here? Is this a prisoner? A test subject? Or something else entirely? The deeper you look, the more disturbing it becomes. Some encounters leave behind nothing but stories. Others, like the Pascagoula abduction, leave behind something tangible: drawings, police reports, and shaken witnesses who never change their story. On the night of October 11, 1973, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were fishing along the Pascagoula River in Mississippi when a strange craft appeared out of nowhere. A metallic, egg-shaped object, emitting a blinding blue light, hovered silently above them. Before they could react, three beings emerged, unlike anything described before. They weren't the classic gray aliens. The creatures stood about 5 feet tall, featureless faces except for a thin slit where a mouth should be, and long claw-like hands. Most disturbingly, they seemed almost robotic. Hickson and Parker were paralyzed, unable to resist as the creatures lifted them into the craft. They later described being subjected to a bizarre examination before suddenly finding themselves back at the riverbank, the UFO vanishing into the night. Terrified, they went straight to the sheriff's office, expecting disbelief. But something strange happened. The police left them alone in a room, secretly recording their conversation. If this were a hoax, surely the two men would break character. Instead, the tape revealed their raw fear. "We need to get out of here. I know they'll come back." The case might have faded into obscurity, but what makes it truly unsettling is the series of drawings that followed. Hickson and Parker described the beings in haunting detail, and decades later, their descriptions remain unchanged. Witnesses from nearby areas even came forward, claiming they had seen the same UFO that night. If two terrified men made this up, why stick to their story for a lifetime? Why did so many others report seeing something in the sky that night? And what were those beings? Biological, mechanical, or something else entirely? Just a decade later on the other side of the Atlantic, another UFO encounter would leave behind not just drawings, but physical traces of something that had landed on Earth. The nearby nuclear base, as some believe? And if nothing really happened, why did officials try so hard to bury the story? The military dismissed the event, offering weak explanations like a misidentified lighthouse beam. But the men who stood in that forest that night knew better. Early one morning in April 1561, the people of Nuremberg, Germany, awoke to something they had never seen before. The sky was filled with strange flying objects, darting and weaving through the air in what looked like an all-out aerial battle. Witnesses described black spheres, crosses, and cylindrical crafts releasing smaller orbs, all engaged in a chaotic skirmish above the city. Some of these objects appeared to explode mid-air, while others crashed to the ground in flames. This wasn't just a folktale. The event was documented in a woodcut illustration by Hans Glaser, a respected local printer. His depiction shows dozens of unidentified flying objects filling the sky, beams of light streaking between them. The accompanying text is just as eerie. It describes a war between celestial objects, terrifying enough that the people of Nuremberg feared it was a sign from God. Modern historians attempt to dismiss the account as an optical illusion or a mass hysteria event, but the descriptions don't match any known natural phenomenon. The level of detail in Glaser's woodcut suggests the people saw something real, something structured, mechanical, and behaving like intelligently controlled aircraft. The sheer number of eyewitnesses makes it impossible to write off as a hoax. What could have been so important that these unidentified objects were fighting above the city? Were these two alien factions battling in Earth's airspace? Or was it some kind of warning, an event they never intended for human eyes? Centuries later, as humanity's technology advanced, we no longer had to rely on old illustrations to document these phenomena. We had cameras, radars, and trained military personnel. And in the modern era, UFOs didn't just appear in the sky. They were being actively monitored, recorded, and even acknowledged by the most powerful military force on the planet. For decades, UFOs were the subject of ridicule, dismissed as hoaxes or the fantasies of conspiracy theorists. But in 2020, everything changed. The U.S. Department of Defense officially declassified 3 videos recorded by Navy pilots, showing unidentified aerial objects performing impossible maneuvers. The videos weren't grainy, shaky footage taken by civilians. These were high-resolution recordings from military-grade infrared cameras, tracking objects moving at speeds no known aircraft could achieve. Pilots described how these tic-tac-shaped UFOs accelerated instantly, changed direction without inertia, and even seemed to defy the laws of physics. One pilot, Commander David Fravor, recounted how the object he encountered in 2004 off the coast of California dropped from 80,000 feet to just above the ocean's surface in a second, an impossible feat for any human-made aircraft. And for the first time, the government didn't deny it. Instead, they labeled the objects UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, and admitted that they had no explanation for them. The acknowledgement sent shockwaves through the world. If the Pentagon, one of the most secretive and technologically advanced organizations on Earth, was openly admitting they had no idea what these objects were, what did that mean? These weren't hobby drones, weather balloons, or distant planets mistaken for lights in the sky. They were real, solid objects, displaying intelligence and capabilities beyond human understanding. The release of these videos proves something undeniable. We are being watched. But by who or what remains the ultimate question. UFO was finally shown what might be the clearest UFO image ever taken. For over 30 years, one photograph remained hidden. A high-resolution image taken over the Scottish Highlands in 1990. It was said to be the most detailed UFO photo ever captured. And then, in 2022, it was finally leaked to the public. Known as the Calvine UFO photo, the image shows a large, diamond-shaped craft hovering in the sky with a fighter jet nearby, possibly monitoring it. The photo was taken by 2 hikers near Calvine, Scotland, who claimed the object floated silently for 10 minutes before shooting straight up at high speed. What makes this image so compelling? It was investigated by the UK Ministry of Defence and promptly classified for decades. Officials studied the photo but never provided a solid explanation. Some suggested it was a secret military aircraft, yet no known technology matches the object's size, shape, and apparent flight capabilities. Others believe it was extraterrestrial, monitored by military forces before vanishing into the skies. The photographer was never identified, and after its release, the UK government remained silent. If this was just a hoax or misidentified aircraft, why bury the image for over 30 years? And why does it remain one of the most unexplained UFO images ever recorded? If the Calvine photo is real, then the evidence is undeniable. We are not alone. But if the clearest UFO image in history was hidden for so long, what else is still locked away from the public? Out in the UFO sighting. This was military-grade footage, captured by one of the most advanced naval forces on the planet, showing an object displaying impossible flight capabilities. High in the remote Pascagoula mountains of China, an archaeological team stumbled upon something impossible. In a series of caves, they uncovered hundreds of small stone discs, each about 9 inches wide, with a precise spiral groove carved into them. The carvings were so fine that they looked almost mechanically etched, not made by primitive tools. At first, the team thought they had found ancient burial markers, but when they studied the carvings under a magnifying glass, they realized the spirals contained microscopic hieroglyphs, writing so small it was barely visible to the naked eye. When translated, the message on the stones told a story that should not have existed. According to the inscriptions, a race of small, thin, humanoid beings crash-landed in the mountains over 12,000 years ago. These beings, called the Drapa, were unable to repair their ship and were stranded on Earth. The local tribes feared them at first, but over time, the two groups learned to coexist. Skeptics dismissed the Drapa stones as a hoax, but the details don't add up. Why would an ancient civilization create hundreds of stone discs with microscopic writing? Why do the cave drawings near the site depict tiny humanoid figures with elongated heads, just like modern descriptions of gray aliens? Strangely, after the stones were analyzed in the 1960s, they disappeared without a trace. Some believe they were destroyed or hidden away by the Chinese government, afraid of what they might prove, but a few photographs and drawings remain, showing the grooves and strange symbols etched into the discs. If these stones were real, they represent one of the oldest records of extraterrestrial contact. Could they be the final evidence of a forgotten encounter between early humans and beings from another world? Or did something, or someone, ensure their story was erased from history? In 2003, a shocking discovery was made in the Atacama Desert of Chile. A 6-inch skeleton, perfectly preserved, was found buried in a leather pouch near an abandoned church. At first glance, it looked human, but something was off. The skull was elongated, far too large for its tiny frame. The eye sockets were oversized, shaped in a way that didn't match any known primate. Even stranger, the skeleton had 10 ribs instead of 12, something unheard of in human anatomy. Dubbed the Atacama humanoid, or ATA, the remains sparked an intense debate. Some claimed it was a fetus with severe birth defects, but others pointed out that its bones were fully developed, indicating it had lived for several years. In 2018, scientists conducted a full DNA analysis, concluding that ATA was human, but with a series of rare genetic mutations never seen before. But the explanation didn't sit well with everyone. If ATA was simply an unusual human, why did it share so many similarities with descriptions of extraterrestrial beings? Some believe ATA was part of a genetic experiment, an unknown species, or even evidence of a failed alien-human hybrid. Adding to the mystery, the remains have since been locked away, out of public reach. If this tiny humanoid figure was just a genetic anomaly, why does it match the exact descriptions of small alien beings reported in UFO encounters worldwide? What are the chances that something so distinctly alien-looking was buried in the driest desert on Earth, one of the most inhospitable places on the planet? For over a century, strange lights have danced across the open plains near Marfa, Texas. Known as the Marfa lights, these glowing orbs appear at dusk, hovering, splitting apart, merging again, and even zipping across the sky at impossible speeds. They appear without warning, flickering in red, white, and yellow hues, sometimes chasing each other before vanishing into thin air. Local ranchers first reported them in the 1800s, long before modern technology could explain them away as headlights or aircraft. The lights have been seen in all weather conditions, from clear skies to foggy nights. Scientists have tried to dismiss them as atmospheric reflections or swamp gas, but there's one problem. There are no swamps in Marfa. Even more unsettling, some witnesses claim the lights respond to movement. Tourists who flash their car headlights or wave at the orbs swear they flicker back, as if aware of being watched. Others describe them shadowing their cars, following along lonely desert roads before fading into the distance. What makes the Marfa lights truly strange is that they resemble other UFO sightings around the world. The way they float, accelerate, and change direction in an instant mirrors reports from military pilots and astronauts. Could these orbs be surveillance probes, quietly observing us? Are they remnants of an ancient technology, hidden just beyond our understanding? If this were a natural phenomenon, why hasn't science provided a concrete answer? And why do these lights appear in one specific location, year after year, never behaving quite the same way twice? Egyptians were masters of recording history. Their hieroglyphs tell us of great wars, dynasties, and celestial events. But one document, the Tulli Papyrus, describes something far more extraordinary. It speaks of circles of fire appearing in the sky over Egypt, glowing brighter than the sun and moving as a group. According to the text, these objects hovered over the city for hours, terrifying the people. Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, they vanished upward into the heavens. The description is eerily similar to modern UFO sightings, metallic orbs, silent movement, mass sightings. But this event didn't happen in the last century. It was reportedly recorded during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III, over 3,500 years ago. Even more suspicious is what happened after the papyrus was discovered in the 1930s by Alberto Tulli, a Vatican museum director. Once translated, the document disappeared. Researchers who tried to track it down were met with silence. Some claim it was destroyed, while others believe it was locked away in secret archives, too dangerous to be revealed. Why would an ancient civilization, known for its precise documentation, fabricate such a detailed encounter? Were they describing a solar event, or did they truly witness something beyond their understanding? And why did the document vanish as soon as people started asking questions? Perhaps the answers are still out there, hidden in caves, buried in archives, or hovering just beyond our reach, waiting for us to finally see the truth. That's about it. Do you believe in the existence of aliens? Let me know in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.